Sure.
What's up, big baller shot callers? Welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. I'm Big Ken, joined my co-host and best friend Monty Brown. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? How's life
Hey
in the
man,
city?
my my picks have been way off, man. Well, I picked Indiana to make this a series and picked Minnesota to win, and looks like neither one of them are going to happen. So, but you never know. Minnesota's still alive, barely hanging by a thread.
Yeah, well, I picked Indiana to lose in 5 games, but I didn't think they would get swept, that's for sure. So yeah. And then I said I think I said Dallas will win in 7 games, and it looks like they might sweep. So
Yeah.
I
Wow.
I thought the better series was going to be the Dallas, the West Coast, conference, the Western Conference Final. Sorry, excuse me, but that looks like it's going to be a sweep also. But yeah, let's talk about some of these games, man. Like some of these recaps for the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, man. Like
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about Indiana first, man. Like I
Whew.
think, like I texted you the other day, I think 3 out of their 4 games were very winnable. Especially games
Yes.
one and game three. Game one, they lose in overtime when Jalen Brown hits a very hard shot in the corner that was highly contested. He almost like double clutched. It was a crazy shot, but it goes in to get it into overtime. Great shot. Then game
Yes.
three, they have an 18-point lead. Their first game returning back, to their home in Indiana, up by 18 points, and middle of that third quarter, man, they started getting erratic, started getting really careless with the ball. They just look like they're completely out of control. Like what are these guys doing? They're
Yeah.
turning the ball over left and right, and Boston's getting back in this game. But then it looked like Indiana kind of weathered the storm, and they got it back up to like 8 or 9 points with like 2.5 minutes to go, and Boston goes on another run, and Drew Holiday, man, that guy, big
Mhm.
still at the end of the game, man. He was he
Yes.
was he was playing he was playing sick and not at team warm ups, whatever in the morning, before the game, and he's like getting IVs and all this stuff, and he didn't have a great offensive game, but he played lights out defensively, had a big steal at the end. What's your take on this whole Indiana Pacers, sweep with Boston?
Well, there's never really a good time for turnovers. It just seems like Indiana picked the most inopportune time to just have turnover after turnover after turnover. Having these, and I don't have the stats, last 5 minutes of games with like a 9 point lead, 4 point lead, something like that. I don't have the stats available and losing that lead because of turnovers. And man, I think they're going to lose a series anyway, but man, they could have gotten a couple of games because of this. I mean, this should have been easily a 2-2 series. Easily,
Yeah, yeah,
easily.
absolutely. This
Just
could
just
have been
bad
a six or
turnovers.
seven game series. Yeah,
Yeah. Halliburton's injury didn't help at all. I mean,
absolutely. I forgot to bring that up. That's a very good point. Didn't help, but they played
yeah,
well without him.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
Siakam stepped up big time, but man, most of the team stepped up the best they could. Just man, those turnovers. Uh, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown both averaging about 30 each. Man, you have Derek White blocking shots. From what I understand, he's the best shot blocking guard in the league, and he's just throwing shots like he's a center. It's tough. I mean, Boston's a complete team, and you can't turn the ball over against a team like that.
yeah. Boston is a very good team. Do I like them very much? No, like me and you both said too, but they are good. I still don't like how many threes they freaking shoot. Drives me crazy. I said that 1,000 times. I'll say it a
Yeah,
thousand and one times. I think they shoot way too many threes. But when they drive to the hole, like when Tatum and Jalen Brown go to the hole, like those guys
yes,
are really good. I like their game a lot better when doing that. Like I don't mind threes. I just don't like every other shot being a three. I mean, yeah, that's what drives me nuts about them. The one
yeah,
thing I like about Indiana is when it looked like they're going to win game three, they hardly had any 3-point attempts. I was loving the crap out of it because I was like, if they hold on to win this game, I'm gonna bring this up in our show. How you can win the game without living and dying on the freaking 3-point line,
Yeah,
jacking up 35 threes a game. Like they didn't make their first three until like the middle of the second quarter. Um, Second half they took a little bit more threes, and that kind of
yeah,
hurt them a little bit, in my opinion, because they were getting away from going to the hole. They were getting to the lane. They were getting inside the lane easy, getting these easy
yeah,
layups. But in Boston's defense, they did turn up the pressure, middle of the third quarter and all the fourth quarter when they started getting back in the game. So you gotta give some credit to Boston's defense. They are a very good defensive team, but they were getting they weren't playing much defense in the first half.
right.
Indiana was scoring at will. Um, Nemhard, the young guard from the Zags here in Spokane, like he steps
Yes.
up big time. Like I said, a lot of players stepped up.
Oh,
Siakam,
they did.
Turner, this young second or third year player, Nemhard from Gonzaga, scoring
Yeah,
like 30 points in a couple of games. Game three, he had 32 points. He was the leading scorer. And last night, I think he had 24,
yeah,
25, the leading scorer again. I mean, he did his thing, man. Siakam and him did his thing, and Turner had some okay games in the inside. The game three was Miles Turner's best game,
yes,
when they should have won it. Yeah, this didn't finish, man. I think the key that we've been saying for the past several minutes is like they just don't finish games.
yeah,
That was their Achilles heel, like having these leads, and Boston always came back at them. And like we said before, Boston, even though they're a young team, they're a very experienced team because they were just in the NBA Finals 2 or 3 years ago. They're in the playoffs. They've been in the playoffs every year since Tatum's
yes,
been there, I think. So they have a lot of playoff experience for a young team. Their bench isn't as good, and we talked about this before.
right.
My God, Pacers bench played great, especially T.J. McConnell. My goodness, that kid can play. Well, he's not a kid, but figure of speech. But man, he's a great player off the bench. Man, he's undersized. But man, he knows how to get space for his shots, and he's just a freaking baller. Um, he has willpower, man. That's what I like about him. Like he is determined, man. Like I like everybody needs a player like that dude, man.
Well, Indiana's a good young team. They're going to be good for years to come, like we
Yeah, people
talked
say they're
about
ahead
last
of their
week.
time a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, all these teams that are in the playoffs, I mean, each team has that one veteran. Indiana has Siakam, Boston has Drew Holiday, Dallas has Kyrie Irving, um, Minnesota has Mike Conley, who hasn't been to the finals, but he's been in the playoffs. I mean, good young core with that one veteran to kind of lead them,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
Boston, if they keep Siakam, this team's going to be real good. They'll be healthy next year. I like this team. We'll be watching them.
Yeah,
Uh, Good point about a young team. The last 3 minutes, they didn't score any points. They were,
yeah,
I
that's
believe,
hurting them.
yeah, they were up by I think 4 or 5, and last 3 minutes, nothing, and that killed them.
That's when
So yeah,
Siakam has to try to show up. I mean, he did play well, so I don't want to take anything away from him. But yeah, that's when that veteran has to fill in the role.
yeah,
Yeah, got to. You either got to get a really good shot for somebody, or you got to get a shot yourself. You know, um, yeah,
yes,
young teams tend to do that. That's where the experienced teams have an advantage at the end of a close game, like when the nerves are there. You know, these
yeah,
older teams have been there, done that kind of thing, so they're not as nervous and they're not as gun shy, and they're not. Yeah, they make big shots at the end of games. I mean, look at Jaylen Brown and
yes,
gets it into overtime.
yeah,
Looks like Indiana has game one, like we mentioned earlier, and they lose. I mean, broke their backs. Um,
yes.
and like you said, not having their young guard. I just lost my train of thought on his name, but him
Yeah,
get
Halliburton.
Halliburton, him not playing in games 3 and 4 hurt them. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. But they still played
that
well.
didn't help at
Played
all.
really well
Yeah,
without him. But if he would have been there, I don't want to say for sure they would have won because we don't know since he didn't play. But their chances are pretty good,
yeah, yeah. They
But
would have
we'll
won a
never
game or
know.
two, I think, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think they'll be swept. Put that way, they'll at least
right.
get one.
Yeah,
Um, let's move over to the West. Also, really close games. Uh,
yeah.
Game
Minnesota.
two, Luka Doncic, game-winning three as
Whew.
time expires, a buzzer beater. The crazy thing about that game is I have his stats. he had triple double in game two, 32 points,
Whew,
13 assists, 10 rebounds.
man,
Game two broke Minnesota's
man,
back. It looked like
man.
Minnesota could have won a couple of these games also instead of being down 0-3 and going to game four tonight in a big hole. Um, yeah, all these games have been close, except
Mhm.
for the one game where Indiana got blown out in game two. But all these games have been close on both sides, and I guess it's just the experience, like you said, and Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka scored in Luka scored 30 points in all three games, and
Yes.
Kyrie Irving has scored 30 points in two out of three. So they've
Yeah.
combined in game three. They both had 33 points each. They had a combination of 66, but they scored. They've both been putting up points, and everyone else has just been doing a good job pitching in, man. Team,
Yes.
um, yeah, Lively's playing well at the bench. Their big man, PJ Washington's continuing to play well. Other guys are stepping up, but I know PJ Washington, Lively is two guys I've noticed that are playing pretty dang good. And yeah, and then Ant Man, I don't know what to say about Minnesota. Ant Man's doing okay. He's not playing bad,
Yeah.
but he's definitely not playing the same way he was in round one. Um, he looks like he's lost a little bit of luster, a little bit, but he's still doing pretty dang good. But yeah, I think Minnesota's youth is killing him too. But they do have Cat, Carl Anthony Towns and Mike Conley. Like I said,
Yes.
two veteran players. What's your take on the Western Conference Finals? I haven't paid as much attention to the West as I have the East.
Just like Tatum and Brown, man. Doncic and Irving's been on fire. Doncic
Yeah,
is this series averaging 32 and I think 32.7.
yeah,
Kyrie's not too far from that, 27 points. And Kyrie's shooting over 50%, over
yeah,
50, like 52%. Doncic is not too bad, 46.4. I'll take that any day. I mean, I
yeah.
think
When you
in the
shoot a lot of
NBA,
threes, that's pretty dang good. Well, not a lot, but
NBA player.
several a game. Yeah.
Yeah, so the key is just stopping those two. And they haven't. I mean, they've been on fire. I mean, Kyrie's been here before. He's been to the finals. He's won a championship. So he knows what it's about. The way Doncic is playing right now has reminded me a lot how Dirk played in that final, in that playoff run.
Hmm.
It's caught fire at the right time. It seems like just Luka can't miss right now. He's hitting everything. And it reminds me a lot of what Dirk did.
Yeah.
So Minnesota's going to have to make some changes. I think, my opinion, I think Cat's been a little bit of a liability. I would like to see Nas Reed start, maybe put him on Doncic, give him a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
I would
I
like
like
to
that.
see him
I like
put
that thought. Yeah.
maybe put
You
Jaden
said
McDaniel instead of Edwards on Kyrie. Put someone tall on him just to shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, length can bother smaller players. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because Edwards running around chasing Kyrie, that's affecting him, like we talked about earlier. I know he's not guarding him 100% of the time. I know he said he wanted him, but now's not the time. If you want to stay in the series, you got to win the night and you got to make some changes. And I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He needs to score his 30 plus points. I mean, like I said, Ant-Man's not playing bad. He's been still putting
No.
20 some plus points a game, which is pretty dang good for anybody,
Hmm.
especially a really young player. First time in the playoffs, I believe. He's doing well. But like I said, he's just getting a little bit tired because
Yeah.
chasing Kyrie around. There was some comments made where people didn't like to say he was making an excuse about being tired. There's been some comments on that. Did you read anything about that when Ant Man was saying, "Yeah, we were tired in game one," and like some people were,
Yeah.
it's not an excuse, and
Yeah.
Michael Jordan would never say that kind of crap, and all these other players. Kobe Bryant wouldn't say that. You
Yeah.
know,
And I get it. That was a tough series against Denver. But if you are, that's probably something I wouldn't say out loud.
yeah, he
I,
should just kept that one in his pocket.
yeah.
But I mean, he's being honest, though. I like him a
Right.
lot. He's a young player,
Right.
but yeah, that one kind of. Yeah, that he probably should have left that one alone. He opened up some can of worms on that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I really like him. So I guess we could have Ant Man and Kyrie. Like I said, Ant Man welcomes the challenge. Kyrie, has been praising Ant-Man for the most part, saying he respects the fact that Ant-Man likes the challenge. That's why we all like Ant-Man. He said something to
Yeah.
that effect. But I don't know if it's true, but I could have sworn I read something today where like Kyrie kind of like flipped the script a little bit and said he needs to teach Ant-Man a lesson because he hasn't proven anything yet.
Hmm.
So I don't
Well,
know if
both ways
that's
could be
true or not
correct.
true, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting because for the most part they've been seem like they've been really respecting each other, and now Kyrie's kind of like turning up the heat a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
because it's an elimination game. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
getting his head a little bit. I don't know, man. But I like it. It's interesting. Oh
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's interesting. I know Atman's known to talk a little
yeah,
smack
he
out
talks
there
some trash, but he backs
and
it
some
up.
stuff. So, and Kyrie's a veteran, so he's got to humble him a little bit.
Yeah,
And so I think that's what all that's about. Just a
I agree, and
little,
I like it. It's part of the playoffs, man.
yeah, good gamesmanship. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. I like that. No problem.
Yeah, I have no problem with it either. And that man does talk a little bit of trash, but like I said in the last show 5 days ago, he also has a lot of respect for the veterans.
Yes.
So he does like a little bit of both. He has his respect, but he will. He's a baller. He's a gamer, and if he's cooking, he's gonna say some stuff.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. Like yeah, trying to get the other team off their game a little bit and get in their heads a little bit. Kind of not. I won't say yeah, kind of like intimidate. I won't say intimidate. It's not a good word, but just kind of get them off their rhythm.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know if anyone can be really intimidated in NBA. I
No,
mean,
no,
they
no,
can
no,
be, I guess,
no.
but I mean, not in
Maybe
the
get in their
playoffs.
head a little bit
Yeah,
if that even works. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't think any NBA player should be intimidated. If you're a professional player, I
No.
don't see how the hell you get intimidated. Maybe like
Right.
junior high, high school levels, yeah, but
No.
not at a professional level. But
Right.
you know, that's interesting. Because you've been there, done that. You're playing professional ball for a reason. So I don't see how anyone would intimidate me if I was playing at that level. I would just like bring it on, man, because I'm here for a freaking reason. So
Mhm.
that's how I would take it. But all right, let's talk. I guess before we close, let's talk about NBA conference finals predictions. We know, well, before we do that, let's not jump the gun. Let's. Who do you think will win Game 4 tonight? Do you think Dallas is going to close it out, or do you think Minnesota will get Game 4 to extend this series to at least 5 games?
Man. Ooh, that's tough. I mean,
I expected Indiana to win Game 4. I was shocked they
yeah.
didn't.
So did I'm expecting Minnesota to win tonight. So I'm gonna just go with that. I expect Minnesota to win one more game and that's it.
Yeah, um, I'll go with you. I won't be devil's advocate. I'll go with you because that'd be crazy if both conference finals end up in sweeps.
Yeah.
I
Hasn't
want to.
happened before.
It's never happened before. Yeah, I
No.
was gonna bring that up too. That would be very interesting if both of them are sweeps. But the weird thing is like that's a little bit misleading because we're talking about how good these games are and how many chances Indiana's had to win. Same thing with
Yes.
Minnesota. I mean, look at Doncic hits a game-winning three in Game 2. Just breaks their backs, has a triple double. I mean,
Hmm.
that changes everything. Because they could have stole one in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been close.
They've been close. None of their games have been blowouts. Like
Yeah.
Game 3, they lost by like 7 or 8 points. I mean, it's like they've been there, man. They've been there, but especially Game freaking 2. And Game 1 was close also. Game 1 was 108, 105. So games 1 and 2 very, very close. Like
Yeah.
one score games at the very end. I mean, anybody's game in the last minute. Like yeah. So these series a little bit misleading. It looks like it's bad, but it's actually
Yeah.
been pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty competitive games. Yeah.
It's competitive. It's just kind of unfortunate that both these teams are down 3-0 or
Yeah.
0-3, I should say. Um, but yeah, I think Minnesota won't pull Indiana. I think somehow they'll get at least one game.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to do what Boston did last year and almost get a game 7 after
Yes.
being down 3-0. That was like very interesting because that would have been the first time an NBA team ever would have done it. A couple times in baseball, it's happened. I know Boston Red Sox did it to their rivals New York
Yes.
Yankees in a World Series, I think in 2003 or 2004.
Yeah.
And I think it's happened in hockey a couple times.
Yeah. It's happening in hockey quite a bit.
Yeah, it's
A few
happened in
times.
hockey a little bit, and it's
Yeah.
happened once or twice in baseball, but
Yeah.
still very rare, but never in basketball.
Yeah.
But even though it's happened in hockey and baseball a couple of times. Like it's been like several times out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So like your chances are so freaking slim.
Yeah.
It's like one or two. It's like 1%, man. So
Yeah. No, I'd love to see it now. I mean, I would love to see that,
yeah,
but it's
it'll
not
make it.
likely.
It'll
But
be
I'd
a
love
great
to.
storyline. Oh my god,
Yeah.
would it ever be? I
Yeah.
guess it's bound to happen some point in the NBA, but I don't think it's happening this year. Uh,
No. There'll be
yeah,
some. No.
Dallas
No.
isn't gonna. I don't see Dallas losing 4 in a row, man.
No.
Not
No.
with
Not the way they're
Kyrie and
playing.
Luka.
No. Mm-mm.
Um, let's get into some NBA finals, man. So we know obviously Boston's already there, so
Yes.
they're waiting for the Dallas, Minnesota series. I know we might be jumping the gun a little bit, but since we're saying no NBA team has done it, we're like 99.9% sure it's going to be Dallas. So
Yes.
who would you like out of Dallas and Boston? Will Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown get their first championship?
Oh man. Uh, I can't stand Boston as a Laker fan. I
Oh,
just can't.
I'll definitely be cheering for Dallas. I think me and you both got that covered. So I think
Man.
we'll both be cheering for the same team. You ain't lying. Sorry, Boston
But
fans. Yeah, I'll be going for Dallas all the way in this one.
here's the thing. No matter who Boston plays, this will be the toughest team that they're going to play. They played first round. Miami without Jimmy Buckets.
Yep.
They played Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell. Well, Donovan Mitchell was hurt for half that series. Because New York, the Knicks were hurt, they didn't play the Knicks because the Knicks had a bunch of their players out. So they kind of escaped from a beat up Knicks team and played Indiana, who didn't have their best point guard. So playing Dallas is going to be tough. Playing Dallas
Yeah.
is going to be really
If
tough.
they stay
So,
healthy, we can't jinx them, but if they're healthy, yeah.
right, right. So, yeah, you could say I'm picking with my head here, but I'm picking Dallas to win the championship. I can't pick Boston.
Agree. Um, yeah. Um, as good as Boston is, I still think that 3-point line is gonna freaking kill them, man. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if they settle for threes, like I've been saying forever, I know Geronimo Moreno, Miguel's younger brother, completely disagrees with me. Like a month ago, he made some comments on Facebook in the first round saying that he think Boston takes good 3-point shots. I'm like, no, they jack way too many up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think NBA teams should shoot about a third of their shots from the 3-point line, but instead they're shooting damn near 50%. Drive me crazy. They need to cut it down. Um, we all need
Thanks,
3-point
Steph Curry,
shooters.
for
Yeah.
that.
Huh?
We could thank Steph Curry for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Steph Curry. Don't get me wrong. I love the Splash Brothers. So I do like the 3-point game. So viewers, don't get me wrong. I like a good outside shooter. All teams need them.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's exciting, but it can't be the only thing you do.
Right,
If you're not
right,
hitting them, you gotta go to plan B. And
right.
you still gotta have some solid guys at inside. You gotta have good mid range jump shooters. But the one good thing about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is they both have really good mid range games too. So
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can shoot
they
for
can
anything.
hit those mid range jumpers, and
Yeah.
so can some of these other guys. But getting off subject a little bit, but is this about Boston? Um, yeah, I want Dallas to win too. I'm picking with my gut, that's my heart, and not my
My
head.
heart. Yeah.
Because I don't like Boston either. I'm not an East Coast guy in general. Don't get me wrong, East Coast fans. I know a lot of friends, the Navy, personal friends that are from New York, Boston, Philadelphia, these places, great people, but I'm just not an East Coast guy, man. It's not my thing. So I just don't cheer for East Coast anything. I only like the East Coast and the Navy. So I'm a West Coast guy, man. Sorry, man. So yeah, I think Luka and Kyrie will be too tough. And PJ Washington,
Yes.
Lively come off the bench, and some of these other guys. There's other guys playing. Hardaway still plays. I like Tim
Yep.
Hardaway's son. He's another good player off the bench when he's
Yes.
sitting. He can be big in some games. And there's a few other guys I'm not mentioning, so I apologize. But they have 2 or 3 other starters besides obviously Luka and Kyrie that kind of pitch in. You know, And it seems like one or two of them also have seem to score in double digits besides Kyrie and Luka. So they have like three or four guys usually in double digits. But PJ Washington's the guy I kind of really noticed has really stepped up the most out of the starting five besides Kyrie and Luka. Um, so yeah, I would say that I think it'll go 6 or 7 games. I think Dallas will win it in
Mhm.
7 games. I think it could be a 7 game series. But I agree with you. Like, not to take away anything that Boston's done, but you're right. They've been playing against some depleted teams. But some people are saying the same thing about Indiana. Like,
Yeah,
they're saying Indiana making the Eastern Conference Finals is a little bit suspicious because they played against a hurt Milwaukee Bucks team, not having
yeah,
Giannis.
right.
Then Dame Lillard gets hurt in the middle of the series. So it's kind of the same thing. But at the same time,
Yeah,
they can't help that. They did what they had to do and they won.
right,
So,
right.
and they are a young upcoming team. I think everyone agreed that. Like, Indiana should be good in the future for several years. They
Mhm. Yeah, they will be.
their core together and
Yeah,
build off that. But yeah, so Indiana's kind of the same as Boston. Like, they've had a little bit of an easier route to get to this place. But yeah, I got Dallas in 7 games. So,
okay.
but I know a lot of people want to see Boston win because Boston's obviously, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Boston's a bigger market team because like Boston, Los
Yeah,
Angeles Lakers,
yes,
New York Knicks, Golden State Warriors, like they're
yeah,
some of the highest money teams in the NBA right now. Probably a few others I'm forgetting, but I know they're up there. Dallas is probably a smaller market, not a small market, but a little bit smaller
right,
market,
right.
So, yeah, interesting. So, yeah, sports fans, viewers, let us know what you think. Who's going to win the finals?
Yeah,
What do you think about these Western Eastern Conference finals? I think they've been good despite the sweep and maybe a possible sweep tonight, a second sweep tonight. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Yeah, but let us know what you think. You got anything in closing, Monty?
just to repeat what you said, yeah, yeah. We expected better conference finals, but this is what we have here. But let's see what happens with this finals. Let's see. Hopefully, it'll go seven. We'll see all 7 games down to the wire. We'll see what happens. But yeah, tell us what you think. Comments, questions, good or bad. We want to know.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for a more competitive finals. I think it will be. I don't think Boston will get swept. They're too good.
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
they're too good. This should go at least 6 or 7 games, but I'm
Yeah,
predicting, 7.
yeah.
So we will see, man. But thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. And we'll be back for an NBA Finals show at some point. So
Yes.
we'll see you next time. Have a good
See
night.
y'all.